Hey everybody. Somewhere online 6 months ago, I saw this little transfer device that's set up to transfer the butane fuel between two canisters. The idea is I was thinking that while I was out on the Appalachian Trail, a lot of times you come across hiker boxes and there's just a little bit of fuel, but you don't want to pick up the whole canister to take it on another 4 or 5 day leg if it's only got like 2 days worth of fuel in it. So a lot of people get rid of them thinking somebody else might want them. Well, you know what? If I take this with me and pack it along, I might be able to harvest some fuel out of some of those hiker boxes. So I've got a small fuel bottle here that's got about maybe 2 more days worth in it. Maybe enough. If I say 2 more days worth, maybe enough to boil 2 cups of water to boiling. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit more in it for this hike I've got coming up. So let's take this and put it on the scale and see how much it weighs first. All right, since we're dealing in small weights, we will use grams, and this is 22 grams. And for us Americans who don't do much metrics, remember, I think 27 grams is about 1 ounce, so this is less than 1 ounce in weight. Okay, so the net weight on the can is 110 grams, so I've got basically 28 grams of fuel. My stove burns right around 5 to 6 for 2 cups of water, so actually that's probably enough for this hike. I probably don't need to do much of a transfer, but since I'm going to go through this exercise, let's do it anyway and see how it works. Okay, while attaching both sides, I had made sure the valve was closed before I attached them, and you do get a puff of butane coming out while you're doing it, so you need to, kind of like with the BSR stove, that little titanium stove, it tends to do the same thing. So just, once you get the threads going, just spin it on fast, and don't linger, otherwise you will lose some fuel. So let's turn it on and see what happens here. The idea is the one on top, it should flow to the bottom. I'm not hearing anything, so I'm going to give it 20 seconds here on the count. Then I'll stop it and see if I have a weight change and how much 20 seconds will give me. All right, 10 more seconds. All right, go ahead and turn it off here. I would have thought that I would hear something. So let me disconnect it and let's put it on the scale and see if there was any transfer. Okay, so 20 seconds or so gave me 3 grams. So that would be about a half a meal. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it going for 2 minutes and see how much more goes in. Okay, it appears that this is not a fast transfer process, which I guess is a good thing. That way you can have a little more control on it. But I ran it with the valve open for 2 minutes and 5 seconds. And now I've got 153 in there, so that's a total of almost 2.5 minutes to get, 15 grams? Which is enough for about almost 3 meals with the stove that I've got. So maybe I'll transfer another 2 minutes in and see where it gets me. Okay, I ran it for about 2.5 on that, so that gives me a total of about 5 minutes running time. And it looks like it transferred 24 grams. For me, that's at least 4 meals that I was able to put in there. And I actually shake the canister now. I actually can tell that there's more fuel in it. So I would say that was successful. What I don't know is if the bottom has more fuel in it than the top, will it still transfer down or not? I'll have to, when I get back from my hike, what I'll do is I will reverse this process here and see if I can put a lesser amount back in. So, all right. I hope this helps everybody. I was able to put my ear up against the bottom canister, and you could hear. It wasn't a hiss. It was more like kind of a drip, like an eyedropper, that you could kind of hear it, kind of the liquid kind of dripping in and hitting on the inside. So it wasn't a transfer of. It was actually a transfer of liquid, not of gas, which makes sense. But I was expecting a little more of perhaps a little hissing sound, but it wasn't. It was just liquid, just draining from higher to lower at a really slow rate. So, all right, everybody. Once again, hope this helps. Well, I decided why wait until after my hike? Why don't I just do it now? I've got everything here and all set up. So I'm going to go ahead and open the valve. I'm going to run it for 5 minutes and see if the lower pressured smaller container will actually transfer it back into probably the higher pressure more full canister. Let's see if it works. Okay, running it for 5 minutes and 20 seconds. There was zero change. So in other words, the larger, more full unit is not able to take the smaller unit, lesser amount, and transfer it. Apparently it held it back. So, and yes, I did double check to make sure I opened the valve, so there was zero transfer. So I guess the lesson learned on this is on the trail, probably if I come across fuel canisters, it may or may not work to take the lesser pressure, smaller ones and try and fill it into a bigger one. Something to think about. Well, I decided to run it one more time, and for 5 minutes, and this time I was listening, and there was actually a noticeable difference in the sound. It sounded like there was more of a gas transfer that was going on. Went on for about 2 minutes or so, then stopped, and I thought I could hear what I thought was maybe some transfer for a little bit, and then it stopped, and then ran another 3 minutes, and I put it on the scale here, and if anything, I may have actually come up a gram. That's probably just a little bit of the wind out here though. So I think the bottom line is the fuller one goes on top of the bottom one. So if I wanted to use this on the AT to harvest fuel from near empty canisters, I'm not sure that's going to work. Anybody have any inputs that they can share with the rest of us on maybe perhaps I've got some user error going on here? I'm willing to admit that, and we can figure this out. Oh, so those interested, here's the back of the unit here. It's a gas adapter. It's got the product number on it for Jeebel Camp there. So if anybody's interested.